The name of this lesson is Your Voice is an Instrument. What do you think that means? Vocal delivery. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Your vocal delivery dictates how your message is received. If I were to tell Brother Hisham, yo, come here. Yo, come here. Come. See the difference? Same word. Completely different message. In a nutshell, that's what we're going to be learning today. How to use your voice as an instrument. Please forgive me. It is just as important, if not more important, than the content itself. And this is what separates the amateurs from the pros. Have you ever been listening to a speech and the person is sounding like this and it's very annoying and it makes you want to go to sleep and you're not really listening, you're kind of just tapping your feet, waiting to go home, wondering what you're going to make for dinner. We're going to teach you how to speak like a pro, using your voice as an instrument. There are 3 pillars. First one is tone. Tone is emotional expression. It reflects your attitude and it sets the atmosphere for your audience. So if you have trouble with tone, then you need to focus on intensity and pitch. For example, there are different emotions. I could talk to you all in a playful tone, a warm, inviting tone. I could talk to you all with a very serious tone. I could talk to you all in a concerned tone. If you've ever had to sell something, this is major, your tonality. Hey, good morning, how are you doing? How's the weather? Okay, buy my thing. Hang up. We all have different levels of bass and treble in our voice. Women typically have softer, lighter voices, higher frequencies. These are the top 3 challenges that people face with tone. No emotional connection means I could be changing my tone, but I'm not really connecting with you all. I'm not making you feel anything. That is the goal. I should be making you feel something. So when you're talking to your friend, you're having a great conversation, you're just bouncing off each other. There's a lot of emotions. There's laughter, sometimes there's sadness, sometimes there's anger, but that emotional connection is what makes that conversation so rich. And on a stage, even as small as this, you are amplifying that emotional control. I already told you about Mr. Roboto Roberto. Today we're going to be learning about tone and pitch and why it's important. That's monotone. That's what monotone means. There's no dynamics in your voice. You're not going up, you're not going down. The last one is misjudging the audience. Read the room. This is something I had a lot of trouble with. In the past, I've made the mistake of coming across playful when the tone is serious. I come off looking like a jerk. And then other times, I've come off too serious when everyone's just lighthearted. Like, chill, bro. Just chill. It's not that serious. That's what read the room means. So if you're talking about genocide, maybe you want to talk a little bit more serious. And then kind of just look at the people in the crowd to see how they're receiving it. If you get some of these like, you're doing something wrong. You need to practice in front of real people. Practice in front of people, even if it's just your friend, on FaceTime. Because that's more natural. And you will naturally fall into your tone. Is tone different from language to language? That's an awesome question. My instinct is telling me that there is a general subset of emotions that exist as humans, and language is like the clothing for it. I'm sure you could tell, without even knowing what I'm saying, the tone, volume, how loud or soft your voice is. It's critical in order to be heard and understood. The bigger the audience, the louder you need to be. If I'm in front of 10,000 people, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You gotta raise the volume or lower the volume. Now if you're speaking on a microphone, maybe don't do that. And it can be used to add dramatic effect. The skill to master here is projection. Projection, projection, projection. If no one can hear you, then there's no reason for them to listen to you. 3 challenges. Poor breath control. So a technique I like to use to gauge my volume is take a breath, and then I use the air that I breathe in as like a time limit. So for example, if I were to try to give the inaugural address in one breath, I would run out of breath very quick. Just take your time, breathe, be conscious of your breathing. This will help you with your volume. And then also the dramatic effect as well. You can lower your voice or raise your voice to achieve this dramatic effect. I'm sure if you've seen the Steve Jobs pitches for the Worldwide Developers Conference before he died, he was excellent at this. Say, what if I could fit 1,000 songs in your pocket? What would you do? Speak from the stomach, not the throat. Breathe. Speak from your gut. Don't speak from your throat.
I wanted to say, when you talk from your stomach and not your throat, you first take a deep breath and then you talk. Because when you talk from your throat, it's like you don't have that much breath.
When you breathe deep, you will naturally speak from your stomach as a fuel source. If you're running out of breath, that's where you hear people's voices start to do this. Next is lack of confidence. Maybe that's why your volume's not there. Maybe you're just like, oh my God, these people are staring at me. Pacing. Pacing is your rate of speaking. It is how fast you are speaking, or it is how slow you are speaking. Maintains clarity, audience engagement. Your skills to master here are preparation and pausing. Nervousness. I just want to get it over with and sit down and no one's going to look at me. But chill. When you're nervous and you feel like I just want to get it over with, you're going to speak like Speedy Gonzalez. Don't rely on memorization or a script. If you get lost in the sauce trying to read a script word for word, and it'll throw you off. I've gotten to the point where I can tell who's reading a teleprompter and who's not. I can just see from their eyes and the way they're talking, I'm like, he's looking and focusing completely on the screen behind the camera with the rolling words. So if you do that, it's harder to fix your pacing. So just come prepared, come with bullet points to guide your discussion. That's what I do. I use bullet points to guide my discussion. So you're doing a podcast, yes? Yeah. So maybe instead of having a word-for-word script, hello, my name is Awa, and I'm Teresa, and today we'll be reading from this script for an hour and 30 minutes. Just have bullet points. And naturally, you'll be able to flow conversationally from one point to another. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. And lack of practice, like we said. If you don't practice, you're not going to know how long you're taking. If tone is your weakness, just record and analyze your voice. Like, is my speaking giving the emotion that I want it to give? Or does it not match? Is it contextually inaccurate? If volume is your weakness, speak from your diaphragm, breathe, and use that air in your gut as a fuel source. If pacing is your issue, just use a timer. The art of body language. The first half of the lesson was about your voice. The second half of the lesson is about half of communication, body language. So I got some hacks for you. More than half of your communication is nonverbal. It's not 50%, it's like 60%. How can you use body language to command attention and engage with your audience? Is body language affected culturally and can it differ? Absolutely. I'm going to go back to the answer that I gave Zeki for the language. There is a general subset of human emotion that can be clothed with your body language. To make that simpler, like a thumbs up in the US is like, awesome job, bro. But you go to another country and it's like, hey, put that down. Yes. So that's absolutely true. Read the room, know your audience, and just look at how people react. Like if you give someone a thumbs up and they're like, maybe just put the thumb away. You're like, I'm sorry.
I have a friend who's a profiler for the FBI, and he was talking to me about how they have to depersonalize Americans and how they have to teach them how to not look so American when they travel other places or when they're in spaces around when they're he's pretty culturally ambiguous, so he kind of moves through different cultures and they have to teach him the cultural nuances of each culture.
Eye contact, first body language hack. It's the most important, that's why I put it at the top. When you're talking to people, look at them, smile. That's how you connect with them. It's very hard when you're a beginner because you get nervous, but personal connection, everything. If you took away nothing else from the body language, just look at people. Look at one person at a time. Even if there's 10,000 people, look here, and just look at a dot back there, and look at a dot back there. And they will feel like you're looking at them, even if you're not. Harder to do this with more people, but just look in the general direction. Strong posture. You can tell who's confident, who's not. I saw this awesome video one time. This guy walked into the gym. He walked in two different ways. The first time he was just like, and like he had to shuffle through people. The second time, same guy. He walked in like walked with some pep in his step. Walked like I'm headed to the squat. Guess what? Everybody parted. Everybody moved like, oh, that guy's coming. Excuse me. Strong posture. Sets the tone for the entire presentation. So if you're confident, you're going to beget respect. You're going to beget respect. It's subconscious. No one's intentionally saying, I don't respect you. But you're not giving them that cue that you deserve to be seen as an authority. Shoulders back, chest up. Next one is facial expressions. Make sure they match the tone. Don't confuse people. This is very simple. It communicates emotions. It can amplify your message. It can keep your audience engaged. Comedians are known for being excellent at this. Purposeful gestures. Purposeful gesture like a point. Or if I'm telling you, listen up. Or no, no, no. Don't do that. Gestures are not always welcomed if they're not purposeful. They can make your points more vivid and understandable, make things more clear, and they add some energy to your delivery. Controlled movement. It's different from purposeful gestures. A gesture usually with your hand, like a point, or a hand up, like, you know what I'm saying? You hear me? Controlled movement is taking steps rhythmically. And as you cycle from one side of the room to the next, it makes the audience feel like you're comfortable. Even if you're scratching your head. Check this out. And so the other day, I saw my brother at the park, and it was kind of interesting. He was wearing a silly outfit. See how that scratch was so much more controlled? I know it's like really weird to think about, like a controlled scratch. But if you're gonna do anything.
Is that like a nervous tick sometimes?
Yes.
Because one of my old principals used to always do that. And I could tell that he was about to lie. When he started scratching his hair and he looked down at the tea tree oil on his finger.
Teach.
And then scratch it again and be like, well,
Yes. Purposeful gesture, usually with your hands or fingers. Control movement is your entire body. How you move. Yes? Understood?
Mm-hmm.
Movement reinforces your authority and enhances pacing. Don't overdo it because it can become distracting. You don't want to be doing this. You don't want to be... Control it. Last one is... Pause and hold still. Oh my God, that sounded so important because he just stopped talking and just stared at us. It works. But use it sparingly. Everything has its context. Now, I put eye contact at the top because that should always be there. Always. You never compromise that. I mean, I guess if you're on Zoom, like you can look down, but face to face, look at people. This is at the bottom because you shouldn't do it all the time. But when it's a very important point, let people think about it. See what I did there? Is all this clear?